All right, guys, I'm not going to prolong this any longer, but definitely wanted to get on here and talk about my experience with having a LEEP surgery done. So if you're considering getting your, a LEEP surgery done or a hysterectomy, this video is definitely for you. So my experience started off, normal as any normal experience. I was going to the OBGYN, just getting my pap smears done. Had some history of HPV in the past, but for the most part, it would clear itself up. However, this go around, my pap smear had came back abnormal. So once it had came back abnormal, the OBGYN, of course, wanted to go in and they wanted to do a biopsy. So I got my biopsy done. And the biopsy, what they do with that is they take pieces of your cervix. So it's just like you're getting a normal pap smear, except you'll feel more cramping and more, it's painful. To me, it's painful. So we definitely want to take like some Advil or aspirin before you go, or at least after you have the procedure done. So I went in to get my biopsy done, and they take it from 3 different areas of the cervix, and then they test the pieces that they take out. So some time goes on, not a lot of time after that, but some time passes, and then the information comes back. And if you have like a MyChart account, it kind of gets uploaded into there first. And so I think I got the results back before the doctor even called me. But even sometimes trying to read through those is a challenge in itself. But overall, to me, it looked as if, for the most part, I was okay, but there was alarm. So let me back it up some. So I think back in the day, it used to be if you had cervical dysplasia, which is like the abnormal, region of your cervix, or the lesion on your cervix, that it was like, I think it was mild and high and medium. Well, now they actually have numbers, and I think it's 1, 2, and 3, meaning like 3 is pretty much you're on the path to get cancer, or you have cancerous cells. And this is the pre-cancerous version, kind of like right before. This is like the pre. So like 1, you have some time, you might can do some things. 2 is like, okay, it's progressing, it's not going away. 3 is like, okay, these cells are pretty much out of control, they're abnormal. What do we do? So I know in the past, there had been times, I don't even want to say times, maybe one time before, where a previous OBGYN had given me the option to have, I think it was called cryoplastic surgery or something like that, where they actually freeze the abnormal cells and they're able to get rid of them that way. And I think that's the most I can remember to the extent of that. And I don't even think I got that done. I just went on my journey and said, I'm going to just do everything right that I can. And I started taking my herbs, and went to see a herbalist, and was just on my regimen and, doing what I needed to do. And just a quick plug about that as far as the herbs. When I went to see this particular herbalist or a doctor, he was the first person that told me that, and this goes off into another thing, that I was, going to have thyroid issues, or I did. He also said my left kidney is something going on with that. And besides that, I kept having urinary tract infections. So that's kind of really why I was there, because I was going to the doctors and, you know, they were prescribing the medicine and they just kept reoccurring. And so once I went to the herbalist and he gave me the herbs, and I don't remember all of the things that I was on, but I do remember, I think I had dandelion, root. I had, I think it was hawthorn berry or raspberry, something, but it was a handful. I say at least about 5 different herbs. But once I took those, I was fine, and I hadn't had a urinary tract infection like since then. And actually I did have one this year, but that was, I say 20 years ago, so some time had passed. So anyways, I say all that to say I had confidence in the herbs and being able to still have that time to be able to focus on myself and make sure that I was, you know, doing what I needed to do for my body. So I took those herbs way back then. Now fast forward back to where we are now and having Sin 3. So it's like really not time to play around. So once those results came back, I had to go into the doctor's office, and then she kind of sat down with a little chart showing me where it was, and mine was kind of like right in the opening of the cervix. So and I'll read you what it says. So I had high grade squamous intraepithelial lesion Sin 3 at 3 o'clock. The biopsy was negative for dysplasia at 6 o'clock. It was also Sin 3. And then at 12 o'clock, the biopsy said the high grade squamous Sin 2 to 3. So that's what my results said. And so I went and I talked to the doctor, and she pretty much gave me the options to have a hysterectomy or I could have the L.E.E.P. And so the hysterectomy is pretty much where they go in and they remove your whole cervix. You're not able to have children anymore after that. And also, well, she said that they would leave my ovaries, but even with that, it came to find out that I had a simple cyst, I believe, in one of my ovaries. With that being said, I kind of even was feeling like, maybe could do something, but they made it that it was really, 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 really urgent. And like, you don't want to be one of those people. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be one of those people. And so I tried to get, you know, the recommendation from the doctor. And I feel as though she was kind of pushing me towards the hysterectomy, and I guess because of my age and that I already have, you know, 2 kids and, you know, over 40 and, you know, that whole thing. But I just feel like you just never know you never know. So I just want to keep all my parts as long as I can. And then I, you know, heard some stories about people having their, you know, getting a hysterectomy and then having issues with their hormones. And then I already have hormone issues because of my thyroid, which I have Graves' disease, which is another video. I can go in and, you know, off topic and talk about. So those are just some of the things that I was thinking about. Also, when they said the L.E.E.P, so L.E.E.P stands for loop electrosurgical excision procedure. And so pretty much what they do is go in, they'll numb the area, and I think they put some kind of solution on it, and then they'll go in and just remove that area out. And the area is very, very small. I mean, it was like milliliters, I believe. I mean, not milliliters, or what's the smallest, like very, very small, smaller than centimeters. Like it was really, really a small area to be removed. And so even though I felt as though they were wanting me to kind of do the hysterectomy, I went ahead with the L.E.E.P. And then there was also some other things that they said. So for the hysterectomy, you couldn't drive. You had to stay overnight at the hospital. You couldn't drive for 2 weeks. No heavy activity for 4 weeks. And then you couldn't put nothing in your vagina. No water, no douche, no tampons or intercourse for the next 12 weeks. Or it's saying until healing is complete, which could take longer. So you couldn't get in the tub. You couldn't get in the pool. And like, I'm a water person, and I just feel like if I can get what I need to get out and just do my best to move forward from there and putting all the good things back into my body, like I could be able to, do this. And I didn't feel as though it was, because it was still a pre-thing, that I had to go that route, even though in the future maybe that could be, God willing, it will not be, and I don't even want to put that into fruition. But for me at the moment, that's what I wanted to go through. So, or I felt was the best option. So fast forward to the procedure. So I had my procedure in December, and I think going up to the surgery, there wasn't much I think I had to do to prepare. I think not take maybe like aspirin or something like that. But other than that, got there really early in the morning. Or I will say that the procedure, I want to say it cost maybe like $2,500 to $3,000, and then depending on whatever insurance you have, you pay your copay, and then there's like a co-insurance. And I will say, like, that kind of took me off guard, because even once you pay that portion, then it was like a separate fee for the anesthesiologist. So just also looking at that, the L.E.E.P was definitely cheaper, and the hysterectomy was definitely more expensive. And then you could also even get that, I think they said, with laser or hysterectomy, Da Vinci surgery, which was minimally invasive. And I just felt like it just was a bit much for me. And so, I mean, I had even asked for literature, and then she gave me something and said, oh, you like to read? Well, read this. And that didn't ease my they didn't give me any sense of ease to want to go and do the hysterectomy. And I know people that have gotten it done, and they're fine with it. I know a person that wears a patch now because they got the full thing removed. Another person that is like, they love it. It's fine because they was having pain. I didn't have any pain. It was none of that. It was just simply, I went to the OBGYN. I got a pap smear. They said it was irregular or abnormal. Got the biopsy, and this is what came back, and it was so close to being at that point. I didn't want to take any chances. So fast forward to the day of the surgery, I go, had to bring somebody with me. So my husband came with me. He had to be there the whole time. I know that some people, they get I think some people can even have it done. It says you can have it done in a doctor's office. They scheduled it for the hospital, and I got put to sleep. And I would say that was probably the most thing that I was afraid of. I'm like, why am I getting nervous about this? Like, I've had 2 kids. I've had C-sections. They just going in and do. I mean, I had the biopsy done. I'm woke, and they were, said they would go in and do this, and it doesn't take long. I think maybe an hour, but that's even maybe including recovery. Like, for them to actually do it, I think it was like a half an hour. So it was me getting put to sleep, and I realized I had never been put to sleep, and so that made me a little bit nervous. And so the people were really, really good. They were really nice at the hospital. And then they just came in, they told me some of the things, that they went through when they had to get theirs done. We back up so close. when they got theirs done. And also just how it was pretty much a breeze. And next thing I remember, the anesthesiologist, coming in after I'm out of prep and, getting prepped. And he's like, I'm going to count down. He's like, have you ever been put to sleep? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, you're in for a treat. And I'm like, okay. And he said they started wheeling me back to the OR, and he was like counting down, and I don't even remember getting into that. And next thing I know, back in the room that I left out of, and it was easy breezy. So I think even for the doctors, it was pretty simple. So of course they came to talk to me, after the fact, and everything that I had to do. I believe my recovery was 4 to 6 weeks I had to wait. And I went back to my doctor, I think 2 weeks later, for a post-op appointment, just for them to, check and make sure everything okay, everything looked good. I think after the surgery, they put, to stop the bleeding, it was like I want to say like a thick gauze or something like that, which ended up coming out later. So they'll tell you that too, but really no bleed, really, that took kind of all the bleeding away. What else am I missing? Oh, during discharge, they also gave me that breathing machine. You gotta breathe in, I think it's called a spirometer, and you gotta, and try to hold the balls up. And so that was one thing that I had to do. So like I said, recovery 4 to 6 weeks, no sex, of course, no douching, no tampons, that whole thing. So I had to follow up with them within 2 weeks, and everything was fine. But then they wanted me to go to see a specialist, a cancer OBGYN specialist. And so I went to see him, and he told me it had been, I think, 4 weeks at that time. And he told me, you can go ahead, you can take a bath. But he tried to get me to get a hysterectomy too. And so I'm like, no, I'm good. And, is there any reason why you don't want to get it? I don't know why they, push it. And maybe it was for my benefit. Maybe it's for financial reasons. I don't know. But something just told me, say no, I'm fine. And so prayerfully, everything is, good. And I'll be scheduling an appointment to go back pretty soon to get it checked out. So that was in December. I had the surgery. January, I did, 2 weeks later, I did that post-op, then another 2 weeks. So in like February is when I had to go to that doctor, that cancer OBGYN or oncologist, that's what it is. And, specialist. And he looked at it, said everything, everything was fine. So I'm like, okay, everything is good. It's February. So that, kind of everything worked out. So I'll be scheduling another appointment just for them to do just another check, and just to get my pap smears, I guess, a little more regular, so they'll be able to keep an eye on it. So I'll have to do that checkup. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to talk about? So afterwards, so I know some questions people, afterwards, like, how did you feel? Like I said, immediately after the surgery, I felt fine. I think I slept, didn't do too much for the next 24 hours. It was Christmas, coming up, of course. So, which was actually nice. So I had, my cousin is a chef, so he, came over and cooked, and so I didn't do any of that. So that was really nice. And then as far as, I know a lot of people want to know, like sex wise, how it went. So once I was able to do that, I did feel a difference. And I don't know, I think if you're really, really in tune with your body, like, you may feel that difference. So my camera cut off, but as far as sex, it was pretty normal. I would say those first couple times felt a little bit weird. It kind of reminded me like after the first time you have sex, after you have a baby, yet that was so long ago for me that I may not even be an accurate depiction of it, but just something like a little bit off, but still not bad at all. Like it wasn't painful. I would say, and the only reason why I noticed is that the orgasm was a little bit different. So I felt it didn't feel as powerful. It didn't feel as strong. But after a few times after that, I say maybe about a month or so, that it was pretty much, just feeling back to normal as more of the time progressed, just getting more and more back to normalcy. So definitely overall, I would say if you're looking, trying to make that decision on what you want to do, definitely got to weigh your options. Make sure that it was hard for me a little bit because I had never been, even though I went to that office, the person that did my surgery was not my OBGYN. And so, but I had heard of her. I knew, that she was good. You can always, do your research, so definitely weigh your options, find out, what's best for you, especially if you're like having pains and people with fibroids and things of that nature. I wasn't having any of that. So God willing, this is pretty much all that I'll need to go through with this. And it definitely got me back on the track of focusing on me. And I will say also during this time, if you watch my other video about me quitting my job, around this time after the surgery, I was also going through like interviews for internal promotions and interviews like outside of so it was a lot going on while I was in this recovery phase. But as you'll see in my other video, if you get a chance to check it out, why I quit my job and I started a new profession. This is all around the same time. So I ended up leaving my job in February of 2024 due to a lot of things, but mainly, stress. And if it was, so stressful on my body, I wanted to make sure that I did everything that I could do to make sure I had less stress. Because there's good stress and there's bad stress, and I want to have that good stress, like that wedding stress, or I don't know, the baby when it first comes, or not the stress that's weighing down on my body and making me physically unhealthy or physically sick, and not able to bounce back and fight off whatever is going on. So overall, that's pretty much it. That's my experience, and why I chose to have the L.E.E.P over a hysterectomy. And I hope that this helps you out in any way that it can. And if you have any more questions or comments, or of course want to hear more, I have more stuff to talk about. So definitely make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more videos, and we'll just end it there and be blessed.